The search for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the man mistakenly sent to an El Salvadoran prison camp, is over. Senator Chris Van Hollen said late on Thursday night that he had indeed met with Garcia, confirming that he is currently still alive and seemingly well. In fact, I'm going to show you a picture here of their meeting. And you see that? They're having some water. It doesn't look too bad there. Great. Now, on X, the Maryland senator wrote, I said my main goal of this trip was to meet with Kilmar. Tonight, I had that chance. I have called his wife, Jennifer, to pass along his message of love. I look forward to providing a full update on my return. So, now look, I am very glad that I was wrong. I was expecting the worst here. I was expecting Garcia to have disappeared or be dead. Okay. That said, I'm glad he's not, but he is still an innocent man stuck in a prison camp. He does not belong there. So real justice means bringing him home. Okay. And so again, that's where the good news ends. Images of Van Hollen's meeting with Abrego Garcia were first posted online by Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele, who was refusing to return him to the United States. Bukele said on X after the meeting that Garcia will remain in El Salvador's custody now that he's been confirmed healthy. He posted this. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in the tropical paradise of El Salvador. Now that he's been confirmed healthy, he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody in a prison camp. I mean, that he doesn't belong in. Okay. How much, by the way, I'm curious how much they cleaned up Garcia for this. Okay. Because they had to have. They know that the scrutiny is on them. So they probably had to clean him up pretty nicely to say, oh, look, see, we didn't torture him that much. He looks fine. See, everything's great. Everything's awesome. No, it's not great. Look, here's the thing. As long as Donald Trump is paying Bukele to keep Garcia there, Bukele is going to keep him. He's getting about, what, $6 million to hold people from, sent from the United States that were Venezuelan migrants or people from Central America in El Salvador. This is taxpayer money that's going into Bukele's pocket. He ain't going to give that up. This is why each side, by the way, keeps passing the buck, because Trump doesn't want him here. Doesn't matter if he's legally allowed to be here or even if he's a citizen, right? Doesn't matter to Donald Trump. He's one of them, the others. And so, yes, we're going to send him to this foreign prison camp. Okay. Now, that said, in an Oval Office meeting with President Trump on Monday, Bukele said, I don't have the power to return Garcia to the United States. Would love to, can't do it. That same day, though, Attorney General Pam Bondi said the United States would be more than happy to provide a plane for Abrego Garcia to come back to the United States, should El Salvador allow his release. But then also, well, he'll just get deported again. Well, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Now, Bukele also had claimed that I can't release Garcia because I can't put terrorists back into the United States. Wait a minute. Terrorist? Who's a terrorist? Garcia does not have a criminal record. There was a domestic issue between he and his wife at one point. That didn't lead to any arrests or charges. And even if there had been, you don't send someone who has a domestic, disturbance or whatever on their record to a foreign prison camp meant for terrorists. That said, MAGA supporters on social media, funny enough, they suddenly now care about domestic violence. First they're calling him a gang member, which is not true. And then, oh, well, he's a white beater too. No, you're thinking of the police. Police are the biggest gang in America. 28% of them admitted to perpetrating domestic violence against their spouses in a survey. This is self-reporting, okay? So they said, yeah, we did that. And 40% of the officers in this survey reported that they had behaved violently towards members of their family. Now, Abrego Garcia, he's not a cop. He's a sheet metal worker who's legally allowed to work and live in the United States. And they want to get rid of him. Now, even more rage from the White House. In fact, they called Van Hollen's efforts to support Abrego Garcia, quote, disgusting, and said that Trump will continue to stand on the side of law-abiding Americans. Oh, really? That's pretty funny because Donald Trump himself is not a law-abiding American. He is a convicted criminal. Abrego Garcia is not. The projection here is absolutely amazing. It is. But here's the thing, though. These flights, this is why the right is doing character assassination, okay? These flights, these deportations are lacking in one important thing: due process. The President of the United States, ICE, they're ignoring the constitutional right to due process, which is supposed to cover everyone, not just citizens. And here's why. Without due process, you cannot prove that you are a citizen. Take the case of 20-year-old Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, who was recently detained in a Florida jail, even after his mother had presented his birth certificate in court to prove that, hey, yes, he was born here, he is a citizen. Now, the good news on that, though, is that he has been released as of Thursday evening, but once again, just like this, shouldn't have happened in the first place. If you can't prove your citizenship or legal right to be in this country, then the government can kidnap you and deport you. Put you in a country where you've never been before. All they have to do that now is accuse you of being a terrorist, and you're gone. And that's it.
Bing, 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 boom, it's gone.
You're gone. You're gone. You're in a foreign prison camp now. Like, that's how dangerous this is. That is extremely frightening, especially since Donald Trump has said that he wants to start sending over the homegrowns, and that Bukele should build about 5 more prisons. So he is planning to send a lot of homegrowns, he calls them, to El Salvador. That American citizens, sending them without due process to a foreign prison camp. That is extremely frightening. Okay, look, I don't want to, get away from the good thing here, because I'm glad Garcia is alive. That said, we got to get him back home to Maryland, back home to his family. And so the fight for justice here isn't over until we're able to bring him home and to stop Donald Trump from sending any more innocent people to this foreign prison camp. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.